Welcome to the land of pharaohs. Discover the mighty Nile, explore their ancient culture, marvel at the pyramids, secrets of mummification. Let's learn and achieve with Padhaiv.
The Greek historian Herodotus visited the banks of the Nile and wrote extensively about ancient Egypt, famously documenting a land of immense architectural wonders. But for thousands of years, the records left behind by this civilization were completely unreadable. The hieroglyphs carved into their sprawling monuments were a lost language, leaving the people who built them entirely silent. Historians were desperate to piece together their history. In the 19th century, scholars compiled massive, detailed collections of these silent ruins, like the monumental work Description de l'Égypte, trying to infer who these people were from the stones alone. The breakthrough finally came in 1799. A French army engineer named Pierre Bouchard discovered a giant black slab covered in mysterious carvings. We know it today as the Rosetta Stone, and it featured 3 distinct types of writing. Because one of those scripts was ancient Greek, a French linguist named Jean-François Champollion matched the Greek words to the Egyptian symbols, completely deciphering the text by 1822. Breaking this code allowed the civilization to speak for itself. Historians could finally step past the stone monuments and begin reading the actual archives of a living society. Those newly translated texts revealed a civilization that emerged around 3000 BCE, driven entirely by the River Nile. The river watered the land, creating an oasis of life. The Egyptians referred to this land as Kemet, meaning the black. It was a direct reference to the rich, dark, fertile silt deposited by the flooding river, brilliantly diverted through channels to irrigate crops. To survive, they had to predict exactly when those floods would arrive. The records show they achieved this by looking up, tracking the precise rising of Sirius, the dog star, in the night sky. This circular diagram maps out the calendar they invented based on those stellar observations. They divided their year into 3 distinct seasons aligned with the river's cycle: inundation, growing, and harvest. As the chart updates, you can see how they simplified time division mathematically. They created a system of 12 months, each exactly 30 days long, and then tacked on 5 extra days at the very end to complete a 365-day year. Their connection to the natural world was a highly organized mathematical system, engineered specifically to guarantee agricultural surplus and the prosperity of their growing population. This structural diagram illustrates how Egyptian society was organized into specific tiers. It starts at the broad base with millions of free serfs and slaves, then narrows through artisans, merchants, and the elite classes of nobles and priests. Sitting at the singular highest point of this social structure were the pharaohs, the highly powerful individuals who held ultimate authority over every tier below them. These rulers possessed an unshakable belief in life after death. To ensure safe passage into eternity, bodies were preserved through the complex practice of mummification. Originally, burial chambers for these elite rulers were covered by flat, rectangular stone structures known as mastabas, which served as foundational markers for their graves. Over time, the Egyptians began stacking these mastabas on top of one another, with each layer representing a smaller, higher tier. This process created the iconic step pyramid, a structure that physically mirrored the narrowing layers of their own social order. The towering stone pyramids we see today reflect the very shape of their society, a massive, coordinated effort from the base tiers, built entirely to support the individual at the peak. Beyond the burial chambers, the archaeological record contains practical, everyday archives found in papyrus scrolls. These were neatly stored in labeled jars on shelves, like a modern filing system. These documents contained the details of daily life, alongside an incredible collection of literature. There were ghost stories, animal fables, romances, and even the oldest known versions of stories like Cinderella and Sinbad the Sailor. The papyrus records describe a vibrant culture filled with leisure activities. People swam and canoed in the Nile. They also celebrated grand festivals dedicated to the gods, including parading the statue of the earth god through the streets, accompanied by music. During these grand festivals, they played specific musical instruments like the sistrum. There were also deeply ingrained royal traditions like the Sed Festival, an elaborate event celebrated specifically to mark a king's 30th year on the throne. In everyday society, ancient Egypt stood out sharply from its neighbors. Compared to Greek and Roman women, Egyptian women enjoyed a significantly higher status. They could inherit property, buy and sell real estate, and legally seek a divorce. This economic freedom allowed some women to hold major positions in religion and administration, granting them immense influence. It made it possible for figures like Cleopatra to be trained from childhood to rule, ascending to the throne as queen at just 18. Beneath the absolute power of the pharaohs, the archives reveal a remarkably vibrant, culturally rich, and legally advanced population. Deciphering the Rosetta Stone provided the direct testimony of a people silent for millennia. It allowed us to meet them through their own words. We now know Egypt as a society that pioneered massive agricultural management, created enduring literary storytelling, and engineered highly precise timekeeping. This ancient focus on precise management established specific systems for organizing a society's labor and time that survived long after the pharaohs were gone. Every time we enjoy a magical fairy tale or organize our lives around a 365-day calendar, we are directly experiencing the enduring legacy of the civilization that first flourished on the banks of the River Nile.